This morning, a sealed envelope marked confidential was quietly dropped off at the filing desk on the fourth floor of a federal courthouse in Washington, D.C. Inside were 68 pages. And those 68 pages may end the career of one of the most powerful men in American law enforcement. Brian Driscoll spent 25 years inside the FBI. He earned the Medal of Valor. He ran some of the AY's most sensitive operations. He wasn't the kind of man who walked into a courtroom lightly. But he walked in anyway, and he brought everything with him. Handwritten notes, meeting transcripts, dates, and the exact words Cash Patel said to him behind a closed door. Not allegations, not interpretations, the actual words recorded and verified. I need you to stay with me until the end of this video because the last section reveals something from that file that hasn't been reported anywhere else. Let's go back to where this started. Late August 2025, a contact of mine reached out. Short message, no details, just this. Driscoll is ready. He has something. I didn't push for more. That's not how this works. The source moves at their own pace. 3 days later, a file came through. Handwritten notes, a timeline, and a word-for-word transcript of a meeting. I ran the metadata. The dates checked out. I cross-referenced the content against public records. Every single line held up. That same night, reporters from Reuters, NBC, and the Washington Post were making calls trying to get to the same source. But the only person with full access to that file wasn't ready to talk until September 2025. To understand why any of this matters, you have to go back to February 2025. The Senate confirmed Cash Patel as FBI director by a vote of 51 to 49, the tightest confirmation margin in the history of the position. Patel stood at the podium, raised his right hand, and made a promise. He said, "I am not partisan. No one will be removed for political reasons." Democrats were skeptical, Republicans applauded, and the press wrote it down. But something else was already happening, out of public view. Before Patel ever took that oath, members of the White House transition team were sitting down privately with senior FBI officials. The questions they were asking had nothing to do with qualifications or leadership. They focused on one thing. Did you work on cases related to Trump? Were you involved in January 6th? Did you have any role in the Mar-a-Lago search? Anyone who answered yes was added to a list. That list went to the White House. Then it landed on Patel's desk. Official channels never acknowledged any of this, but my sources inside confirmed it. And months later, it became the foundation of a 8-page federal lawsuit. August 2025, FBI headquarters, Patel's office. Brian Driscoll arrived with 2 former colleagues. He was called in alone. The door closed. Patel was across the table. 2 lawyers sat beside him, along with a notebook and a black-covered folder. Nobody spoke right away. Think about who Brian Driscoll is. This is a man who dismantled drug networks, who took down organized crime operations, who spent thousands of hours conducting high-stakes interrogations, a deputy director of the FBI. The man sitting across from him had just finished a Senate hearing. Patel leaned forward and said this, "My superiors ordered me to remove everyone connected to the Trump investigations. I can't stop this. To keep my position, I have to let you go too." Driscoll didn't respond because for months, Patel had stood in front of cameras and said no one would be fired for political reasons. And now, in a private room, he was saying the opposite with his own mouth. That conversation opens the court file with a single line. The meeting lasted approximately 14 minutes. And Driscoll wasn't the only one. The file documents every case, page by page. First case, March 2025, New York. The head of the New York field office received a call from FBI headquarters. He was ordered to hand over a list of every agent who worked on January 6 cases. He refused. Within 48 hours, he was removed. No statement, no explanation, just a call and then silence. Second wave, April through July 2025. The Atlanta field office director, gone. New York's acting director, warned, then ousted. 6 agents pulled from Miami in a single week, names removed from New Orleans. Every single one of them had some connection, direct or indirect, to the Mar-a-Lago search. An NBC journalist covering this in August 2025 wrote that nothing like this had ever happened before in FBI history. But the third section of the file hits differently. One day, August 2025, 3 names: Brian Driscoll, Stephen Jensen, Spencer Evans. Between them, 60 years of FBI experience. All 3 were terminated on the same day at the same hour. Jensen had worked January 6 cases. He'd been targeted by MAGA accounts on social media. According to the file, Patel and his aide Dan Bonino discussed it directly. The conversation went like this: "We're burning too much political capital defending Jensen. He was gone within days." Evans managed human resources during the COVID period. A former agent who had been dismissed started a campaign against him online. Messages flooded Bonino's account. Within 72 hours, Evans was out. Driscoll's situation was different. Before Patel took the role, Driscoll had blocked a plan to mass remove thousands of FBI agents. That decision didn't sit well with the White House. Patel remembered it. And according to the file, he brought it up in that closed-door meeting. He said that Driscoll had tried to obstruct the director's authority and that he hadn't forgotten it. Page 34 of the file lists 31 additional names beyond those 3. 34 FBI executives and senior agents total, all removed, all connected to the same investigations, all processed the same way. I want to stop here for a second. This is not a partisan argument. This is the documented story of how 34 careers were systematically ended, as recorded in federal court filings. If you think more people should know about this, hit the like button. The algorithm responds to it, and that's genuinely how this information reaches a wider audience. And drop a comment below. 34 names are on that list. Who do you think actually put it together? I've been trying to find the answer to that, too. And the last section of the file contains coded references that may point toward it. September 2025, Federal Courthouse, Washington, D.C. Attorney Mark Zaid stepped up with that black binder in his hands. He set it on the table, looked at the judge, and said clearly, Cash Patel lied under oath during his Senate confirmation hearing. The room reacted. Cameras moved. Journalists wrote. Zaid continued. Either he misled the Senate, or he is admitting that he followed directives from Bondi and the White House to carry out unlawful orders. Neither option is acceptable. Both are federal crimes. He opened to page 23 and read directly from the file. Director Patel stated during the meeting, "My superiors ordered me to remove everyone who worked on the Trump investigations. To protect my own position, I have to end yours." Nobody in the room moved. Zaid turned to page 41 and placed his finger on a signature, Cash Patel's signature, on an administrative document showing he personally approved the termination list. This was not a claim. It was in the record. The signature was there. A Democratic senator on the Judiciary Committee said it plainly. Patel lied under oath. This is perjury. CNN's legal analysts were on air within the hour. They noted that what the document showed directly contradicted the commitment Patel made during his confirmation, and that in federal court, that kind of contradiction carries serious consequences, including removal from office. The judge looked toward Patel's legal team. Does Director Patel wish to respond to this document? His lead attorney stood up and said one sentence. My client will exercise his constitutional rights at this stage. Fifth Amendment, the right to remain silent. The courtroom went quiet. Zaid turned to face the press gallery. He leaned into the microphone and said, "An innocent person denies the accusation. A guilty person goes silent. Brian Driscoll is in this room. He told you everything." Then he added, "There is a principle in law. An unanswered claim carries more weight than a challenged one." November 2025, the FBI Agents Association released a statement. 3 words: he broke the law. They went further, saying Patel had created chaos, launched a campaign of arbitrary retaliation, and that his approach to leadership had made the American people less safe. Around the same time, a leaked assessment written by both active and retired FBI agents circulated. 2 words summarized it: rudderless ship. Patel didn't respond to any of it. But the 68 pages don't answer everything. The last 8 pages contain something unusual. Next to certain names, there are letters, codes, and what those codes mean has not been made public. Code W appears beside 12 names. My sources say it stands for White House Connected Protection. Those individuals weren't fired, they were transferred to where? That part is still unknown. Code B appears beside 9 names. Sources describe it as a Bondi office referral, meaning the Department of Justice may have had direct involvement in the process. Code T appears beside just 3 names. Who those 3 people are, my sources don't fully know. Federal prosecutors are working to crack it now. If they do, if the people behind WB&T are brought into court, this case extends well beyond Cash Patel. Attorney Mark Zaid said it this way: "My client has knowledge of every meeting, every call, every instruction that was given. What Patel said in that room is only the opening chapter. The second part is much heavier." That second part comes into view at the February 2026 hearing. Here is what is established in the federal record. Not theory, not speculation. 1. Patel swore under oath that no one would be fired for political reasons. Then he privately told Brian Driscoll the opposite. That contradiction was captured word for word in a 68-page federal filing. 2. Between March and August 2025, 34 FBI officials across New York, Atlanta, Miami, New Orleans, and Washington were removed. Their shared connection was involvement in Trump-related investigations. Patel's signature is on the administrative document approving those removals. 3. In court, Patel's attorneys invoked the Fifth Amendment. 4. The FBI Agents Association stated publicly that the American people are less safe. 5. According to Attorney's Aid, the 68-page file is the first installment. 24 more names are coded with WB and T, connecting to the White House, the Department of Justice, and a third source not yet identified. Tomorrow on this channel, I'll be sharing the first materials tied to the February 2026 hearing. Driscoll's full testimony transcript, the administrative document with Patel's signature, and everything we have on the names behind those 3 codes. If you're not subscribed yet, do it now and turn on the bell notification, because this case is not over. 68 pages, first chapter. The second part is coming.